Okay, so I wanted to put out an updated video on my picture settings for the Sony 85-inch X95K. I've taken some more time to just kind of further fine tune the picture settings. They're not too different from the last video that I put out, but I have made some further discoveries, and I also want to make a distinction about one setting that's different with Dolby Vision. So let's just go into my movies here. Okay, so this is X-Men Apocalypse. Let's mute this. Hopefully we don't get a flag here. I'm just doing this for review. Okay. So X-Men Apocalypse is going to be standard HDR10. Kill these lights here. So now you're going to see probably a little bit of blooming on the camera. It's way less obvious in real life. I am going to say if you're watching for it, you're going to see some occasional blooming. I think blooming mitigation, it seems to be much better on the X95L. Part of me kind of wishes I maybe would have held out for that, but I only paid $2,600 for this brand new. So yeah, I can still live with myself. So let's go into the picture settings. So I have this set back on cinema. So I usually do custom, but I found in cinema mode on the Sony X95L, just that particular picture preset seems to do a little bit better with blooming mitigation. So we're just going to go through this real quick. Auto picture mode is off. Ambient light sensor is off. So brightness, I have max. Contrast is 90. Gamma is 0. I brought this up from -2. I found that I didn't need to have it that dark. But gamma, you can, if your room is too dark and you just want to kind of tone it down a little bit, you can tone down the gamma. HDR tone mapping. I had this off, and what I noticed was I don't want brightness preferred because I think the TV is bright enough without it, and I'm trying to mitigate blooming as much as I can. And what I found, well, let me come back to this. So black level is at 50, black adjust is off, advanced contrast enhancer. So what I also found is this gives the picture a little bit more pop, but it also helps to further mitigate blooming for whatever reason. Now, when I had tone mapping, HDR tone mapping turned off, having advanced contrast enhancer on at any level was causing wild fluctuations in overall picture luminance. So although I don't think you need this, having this turned on to gradation preferred seems to kind of stabilize the overall picture luminance, and you don't see like bright scenes getting super bright and then dimming down. Auto local dimming high, I know some people say that's less accurate, but it seems to mitigate blooming better, maybe at the minor expense of crushing some shadow detail, but I don't generally see that. Peak luminance is high. Color, I leave on expert 1, live color low. This isn't necessary. This just gives things a little bit more punch without looking stupid. Clarity, sharpness is default. Reality creation is on manual. I put it at 35. Noise reduction off. Digital noise off. Smooth gradation on low. Now, motion also is very subjective, but I have found I don't like soap opera effect, and I don't like 24 frames per second stutter. So I have found that putting motion flow on auto and Cinemotion off does a good job at mitigating stutter without adding any soap opera effect. And this seems to be good across all content. So Yeah, I think that looks great. Colors are nice and vibrant. Blooming is good. Black levels are good. Everything looks in general pretty good. It's not perfect. After owning this set for a little while longer, I will say the Z90's blooming control was probably a little bit better. But the contrast on this set is better than the Z90 for sure. And also the color volume and the brightness. Okay, so let's jump into some Dolby Vision. I'm not gonna do SDR because my settings are exactly the same as HDR10, with the exception of brightness is not at max. It's wherever you find it comfortable. And the luminance is not set to peak. You don't need to do that with SDR content. Let's do Lord of the Rings. Okay. So Dolby Vision. Settings are pretty close to being the same, but with one difference. So I have this on Dolby Vision Bright. The same settings, I think, would pretty much cross over to Dolby Vision Dark. Everything is very, very similar. Max. The gamma is -2 by default on Dolby Vision Bright. Gradation preferred 50, black adjust off, advanced contrast enhancer low, auto local dimming high, peak luminance color. This is all the same. Clarity is all the same except for smooth gradation. For whatever reason, this messes with the Dolby Vision picture and it seems to dim the picture and elevate blacks maybe a little bit. So I find you don't need this on anyway because Sony's TVs are so good at gradation. But I turn this off with Dolby Vision and then everything else is the same. So I see a little bit of that blooming into the black bar. I was standing up. I didn't really notice that on the top letterbox bar. Let's see here. I didn't notice any of that in the letterbox bars. I also got a different TV stand, which brought my TV down just a little bit lower, so my head sits about dead center of the screen now when I'm seated on the couch. So that's showing some blooming in the camera, but that's, you can't see any of that to the naked eye. So yeah, so Dolby Vision looking really good. So that's it, man. I'm still happy with this TV. It's always hard to maintain the same level of excitement after a new TV comes out. All of the reviews on the X95L, well, not reviews because we don't have any reviews yet, but the owners on AV forums, all the owners seem to really be enjoying it. The user reviews are saying that there's virtually no blooming. It's as close to OLED as we have ever gotten with an LCD is what they're saying about the X95L. So I'm excited to see one. Best Buy is not getting them. I was able to confirm that in a Best Buy yesterday. They're not getting them because they have the X93L, which we all know now is just a rebadged X95K. It's not even, the only thing different about that TV is the model number. Everything else is exactly the same. So that sucks that they're not getting the X95L. So it's going to be difficult to go out and see that in person. You'd have to essentially just buy one and set it up. And if you don't like it, send it back, which is a major pain in the ass with a TV of 85 inches. But I feel still like I'm really happy with this TV. You're always going to wonder if there's something better, but I think this is, for 99.999% of people, this is going to be probably the best looking TV they've ever owned. And hopefully you enjoy these settings. Thanks, everyone.